Number 10, Chadwick Boseman. The late, great Chadwick Boseman was not just an incredible performer, but an incredible man. In his early years of acting, no matter what his status was, he was always vocal about the things that he did not agree with or understand. During a commencement speech to the graduating class of 2018 at his alma mater, Howard University, he spoke about a time when he was fired from a show for questioning the producers about the stereotypical depiction of his character. At first he was excited, as he was promised a six-figure contract, more money than he'd ever seen in his life. However, the moment he saw the role that he was playing, he was conflicted. The role was wrapped up in assumptions about people of color. He said that the character was just a young man with a violent streak pulled into the allure of gangs and with zero glimpse of positivity or talent in the character. After filming a handful of episodes, Chadwick brought his concerns to the attention of the producers, who told him that they were very pleased with his performance, a performance that he was actually fired from the next day. Apparently, the things that he was asking caught the producers off guard. The conversation over the character actually came up when he was called into the production office, and they were very happy with what he'd been doing on the show, and it was clear they wanted him around for a long time. But when they asked him if he needed anything to be more comfortable, it was his opening. He asked them if they could just discuss his character a bit for plot purposes, asking them only two questions. Where is my father? And if my mother is not equipped to be a good parent, why did myself and my brother need to go to foster care? While the producers did have answers, when Chadwick asked if they felt that he was a stereotypical character at all, the producers stared for a moment before suggesting that he speak to the writers if he had any suggestions. The goal was to give his character a new lease on life, but the next day, he was fired for speaking his mind, something he's never regretted once, and that never stopped him from pursuing his dreams. Number 9, Sylvester Stallone. Considering the success of the Beverly Hills Cop franchise, it's difficult to imagine anyone else in the leading role of Alex Foley other than Eddie Murphy. But it turns out that at the time, the role was initially offered to one of the biggest stars of the 1980s, Sylvester Stallone. What's funny still is that at the time he was not just a skilled actor, but earning an Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay for Rocky. But it seems that Rocky and the studio didn't really agree on many things, and eventually Stallone was exited from the project. One of the first major changes in Sly's version of the script was the violence. He wanted it to be ramped up to 100 and make it a real action movie. But the film was presented to him as a comedy. Even though he agreed to do it, he wanted to make some changes before the cameras rolled. He was exclusively told not to change anything about the film, but he insisted and rewrote the project as a 50-50 action comedy movie. When he presented the changes to the producers, they were not pleased with his script. In fact, quite the opposite. It was quickly decided that Sylvester would be let go as the lead and Eddie Murphy would be brought in to fill in the blanks. It was not in vain, as he took that mangled script, incorporated elements of the novel Fair Game by Paula Gosling, and eventually it became the 1986 film Cobra. Although it wasn't loved by critics, it did go on to make around $160 million globally, which pretty good at the time. Number 8, Edward Norton. Three-time Academy Award nominee Edward Norton has been the leading man in many memorable movies: Primal Fear, American History X, and of course the most famous one, but as we all know, but of course, one of his most famous and mainstream roles was in the 2008 MCU flick, The Incredible Hulk. Although the movie was not a massive success at first, the audience was shocked when Edward Norton was replaced by Mark Ruffalo in the first Avengers film. The president of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, said that the decision was not monetary, but it was actually due to the company wishing to hire an actor who embodied the creativity and collaboration that the other Marvel stars had so far shown on their projects. After Kevin made these statements, however, Norton was amicable but adamant about splitting ways with Marvel, and mentioned that his roles in Birdman and Moonrise Kingdom would oppose the loud and extravagant role that he had in the MCU. Many believe that his calm response may be because he was paid handsomely before he was let go as a little bit of hush money. Marvel is good at hiding secrets, especially from their actors, but it was still so early in the MCU that Edward was certainly aware of hidden details and events that would make him a liability in the industry. Number 7, Colin Firth. The live-action Paddington movies are surprisingly very popular. The series, based on the children's book, has really hit home for a lot of people. First and second film are currently rated at 97% and 99% fresh, respectively. 99. The success of the film can of course be attributed to the incredible cast, including the voice of Paddington, Ben Whishaw. But of course, Ben was not the first voice that had been recorded for the role. Initially, the voice of Paddington was done by Kingsman star Colin Firth. I know he's been in other things, but I love those movies and that's how I know him best. Not only did Colin record all of the lines start to finish, but he was not told that he was being replaced until a couple of months before the premiere. In some of the first promotional videos for the film, the animated bear never does anything more than grunt. It turns out that the creative team felt Colin's voice just didn't match with the vibe that they were going for. It made Paddington sound too old and distinguished when he needed to be some fresh young thing. Yeah, he was just happy to be working. Now let's get into some more dark Hollywood backstories, shall we? Number 6, Jim Carrey's origins. A Canadian legend, Jim is considered one of the greatest modern comedians of all time, famously releasing 3 films in the year 1995, Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, and Ace Ventura, which all made millions at the box office, and still hold up to this day. As many know, comedians tend to have a pretty rough backstory, as the best comedy comes from a place of pain. Over the years, Jim has come clean about his strange but fun upbringing. His family struggled financially, and he grew up watching his mother struggle with depression, which he claims to have passed down to him. Despite his energy, he was a bit of a recluse growing up and apparently spent hours in his room making faces in the mirror instead of hanging out with. After dropping out of high school to work a full-time job, Jim and his family were forced to live in a Volkswagen van together, becoming homeless for a short period of time. He went on to attempt a career in comedy, at first to minimal success, but of course, he was able to find his footing and made his place in comedy history. Number 5. Woody Harrelson's father. Woody is best known in Hollywood as the wildest wild child to ever exist. He eats raw meat, he's an eco-crusader, a protester against violence, and an advocate for the legalization of herbs and spices in the United States. He's loved on screen, but did you know that his father took people out for money? And I'm not talking about on dates. Charles Harrelson was sentenced to 2 lifetime sentences for the slaying of a federal judge in San Antonio. Prior to that charge, Charles had previously been acquitted for the slaying of Alan Berg, a carpet salesman, and convicted of the slaying of Sam DeGalia Jr. Yeah, the evidence shows that Charles was not a great hit. Woody doesn't speak much of his father these days, opting to instead leave his family troubles in the past. He does, however, say that the one thing that his father said to him that he still uses to this day was, always keep an open mind. Yeah, Charles knew all about opening minds. You can't put that in the video, that's just for the editor.
I just did.
Number 4, Mark Wahlberg should be in jail. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch hit the rap scene in 1991. Despite sounding like the title of a cheesy kids show, the crew had a small following and garnered a lot of success, enough for leading man Mark Wahlberg to be spotted and picked up by Hollywood to star in The Corruptor, a 1999 action flick that sees Mark playing the leading man. Action by the numbers, kinda get it? He's had a successful acting career that has recently been declining in quality, but he's still acting and looks jacked at the age of 50-something. So please don't hurt me, Mark Wahlberg. Infinite was just hard to watch. Growing up in Boston, he was the youngest of 9 children and was relentlessly bullied by his fellow siblings. His parents divorced when he was very young, and he became addicted to no-no snow by the age of 13. He dropped out of high school and was eventually arrested when he was 18 for attempting to slay 2 Vietnamese men. Apparently, he was just walking home late one night under the influence of a hallucinogen narcotic that I won't get into, when he spotted the men. Close friends at the time confirmed that Mark had a racial biased upbringing, which caused him to be instantly aggressive towards anyone who, wasn't white. He attempted to swing a large log at them, which made contact and knocked one of them unconscious, and he was eventually released after serving only 45 days of his 2-year prison sentence, and he vowed to change his life. So far, he's kept that promise. I can personally confirm that he's very polite and patient because he actually watched a movie at a theater I used to work at. He travels with a crew of 5 people at all times. It's a little intimidating. Number 3, Tim Allen's hobbies. Tim Allen is the voice of Buzz Lightyear and the star of ABC's sitcom Home Improvement, which premiered in 1991. Now, while he may have played a family man on TV, many fans may not know that Tim was a smuggler of no-no snow in the early 1970s. According to Tim, he got mixed up with some bad people back in the day while he was selling certain substances on the street for a couple of bucks. In 1978, Tim was arrested in the Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport, that's an awesome name, and was caught with more than 650 grams, 1.4 pounds of no-no snow. Unfortunately for Tim, state legislators had just passed a law that tied a life sentence to any conviction of selling 650 or more. Like, as he was being arrested, there was a guy in his car like, okay, and if you have 650 grams. Okay, yeah, you're a goner, Tim. However, that sentence was never served, as it was revealed that Tim was set up by an undercover police officer who had been following him for months. Due to this, and Tim's cooperation in providing the names of fellow dealers to the authorities, led to him receiving a lighter conviction that allowed him to be sentenced in a federal court instead of a state one, being able to ignore that new policy altogether. His information led to 20 arrests and the sentencing of a major dealer. That needs to be a movie. Number 2, they have backups. There have been many rumors over the years that Hollywood likes to clone their best and brightest on the off chance that they will need them again following an untimely demise. According to the internet, Paul Rudd actually got to star alongside his clone in the show Living With Yourself, not some CGI thing. Now, Paul has, of course, claimed the performance was achieved with CGI and filming one character one day and another the next, but come on, Paul Rudd's also 54 and looks, well, like that. Something's not right about that. Now, there is a theory out there that celebrities are made up of lizard people who take the forms of actors and singers to influence people. Paul is thought to be one of those lizard people. I don't know. I don't believe this theory. I'm just sharing some stuff I found on the internet. I don't believe any of this, okay? This is fun. It would be awesome if there were 2 Paul Rudds, though. In fact, that would probably be the most chill way to find out that clones existed. Just 2 Pauls being like, hi, I'm Paul. And another one being like, hi, I'm Paul. And everything's gonna be okay. Number 1, they're all broke. That's right, despite it being one of the most lucrative industries in the world, most of Hollywood actors, writers, directors, all of them are not as well off as people may think. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last little bit, most of Hollywood was closed for a while as its staff were on strike. Some of the toppest of tier actors joined the crew in solidarity, and they are actually still on strike right now, not stopping until Hollywood's producers and big budget studios start sharing the money they make. Actor Sean Gunn gave an interview a few weeks ago where he mentioned working on a show currently streaming on Netflix, a show that has made over $4 million in residuals, of which he has received basically nothing. This type of financial woe extends to a ton of people in Hollywood. Just wanted to take a moment to wish luck to anyone who's still out there, and hey, awesome that the writer part of the strike is over. That's pretty sick.
And at number 10, fake relationships. I think at this point it's clear that most Hollywood relationships are faked for PR. Occasionally these fake relationships actually turn into real love, but most of the time these fake couples split as soon as the movie comes out, making it painfully obvious. One of the most obvious cases of this was the on and off again relationship between Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart during the Twilight days. These two would always be in a relationship when their newest movies were dropping, but then a few weeks after the release, they would break up. Since they split almost immediately after the final Breaking Dawn movie was released, it's clear that it was all a lie. Also, the pair looked so uncomfortable when they were together, and now that we see what they look like in a happy relationship, it's clear that they weren't in one. And at number 9, paid paparazzi. If you've ever wondered why some celebrities look amazing in paparazzi photos while others don't, it's because a lot of celebrities hire their own paparazzi to make sure they never look bad in a photo. The most recent celebrity to get called out for using this tactic was Addison Rae. While Addison was out in New York, she happened to get a ton of great photos of herself out and about in the city, and Page Six called her out for tipping off the paparazzi about her location so she can get a ton of good pictures. Page Six called it, quote, a move straight out of the introductory course at the Kardashian Institute of Advanced Fame Grasbury. Apparently Addison specifically wanted good photos of her outfits so that she could become known for her style. This move has long been used by the Kardashians back when they were up and coming, and now it seems that Addison is taking tips from her new friends. And at number 8, fake bodies. It's no secret that almost everyone in Hollywood has had some work done. Usually it's minor things like Botox and fillers to maintain youthfulness, but some celebrities went through major changes before making it big, and these cosmetic procedures were the reason that it all happened. Apparently it's an open secret that celebrities will change their bodies to adapt to the times to maintain marketability. But the worst part is that most celebrities don't own up to these big changes, so fans will think these people are effortlessly perfect, and it starts to impact the everyday person's self-esteem. One of the most common procedures seems to be a nose job, and most celebrities that are deemed au naturel have had it done. Blake Lively, Scarlett Johansson, and Jennifer Aniston are just some of the celebrities that fans are convinced had nose jobs, but they will never admit it to fans who think it's all elite genetics. And at number 7, award show corruption. Many fans assume that Oscars and Grammys are given to those who truly deserve it, but once you pull back the curtain, that's really not how it works. And an open secret is that anyone who wants to win one of these awards must campaign for it and basically bribe the judges. This can be in the form of actual money or things like vacations and expensive gifts. Back in 1981, actress Pia Zendora won the Best Newcomer award for her role in the movie Butterfly. It was a shock to everyone until it was exposed that her husband paid off the voting members to ensure that she won, and over time the practice did not get better. In 2011, publicist Michael Russell sued the Hollywood Foreign Press Association for firing him. He was trying to expose the corruption with the award show, and they didn't like that. The parties settled the dispute out of court. And at number 6, cheating. Movies often take months to film. That's long, grueling hours away from family and friends, stuck with the small same group of people. Because of how it all works, movie sets are breeding grounds for extramarital affairs, especially if you're spending a lot of time with your love interest in the movie that you're hugging and kissing all day on set. There are truly too many examples to name, but there's a solid chance that one of your favorite actors cheated on their spouse during the filming of a hit movie. The most famous are Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Kristen Stewart and director Rupert Sanders during the filming of their project. And obviously, this happens a lot more than it's reported. Halfway number 5, fake names. The vast majority of Hollywood A-listers do not use their real names, instead they concocted a stage name. This is done for a variety of reasons. Sometimes just because their old name isn't as flashy, but other times the reasons are pretty dark. For some examples of celebrities with fake names, Martin Sheen's real name is Raymond Antonio Gerard Estevez, Jamie Foxx's name is Eric Marlon Bishop, and Marilyn Monroe's real name was Norma Jean Mortensen. Then other times a name change can be used to hide nepotism. Like for instance, Nicolas Cage's real name is Nicholas Coppola, and he's the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola, a famous Hollywood director. This familial connection landed Nick Cage his first role in the movie Peggy Sue Got Married. Other times a name change can be to hide racism. Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actor Chloe Bennett, real name Chloe Wang, said, quote, "Hollywood is racist and wouldn't cast me with the last name that made them uncomfortable." And at number 4, stuntmen regularly lose their lives. Stuntmen are a very common thing on movie sets because A-list actors aren't able to do the stunts that we see in a lot of action movies. But fans might not know what a dangerous job that it is, and stuntmen regularly get critically injured or even lose their lives. And for how vital their role is to these movies, they are not paid fairly. The average stunt person pulls in about $250K a year, which sounds great, but is nothing compared to the about $20 million that the movie stars are making. Big name stars are obviously the ones that sell the tickets, but they're not the ones who put their lives on the line. During the filming of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, Daniel Radcliffe's stunt double David Holmes got hit by a staged explosion, and he was so seriously injured by the fragments that he suffered a neck break that left him fully paralyzed. Then on the set of Deadpool 2, a stuntman lost their life during a car crash scene. And at number 3, substance misuse. Following the release of the biopic Judy, we got to see the horrible practices the movie execs would use to get their talent to do what they wanted, specifically using illicit substances to wake the actors up and keep them on set working for very long hours. According to a 1982 New York Times article, use of these substances became so common that movie insurers would put clauses in their contracts to cut losses from these sorts of incidents, because several deaths and injuries on set stem from the use of these substances. In her 2013 memoir, Debbie Reynolds, the female lead for the 1952 musical Singing in the Rain, recalled that when her grueling schedule started to take a toll on her health, a studio executive told her to, quote, take vitamin shots from his doctor. Then Judy Garland revealed her mother would give her, quote, pep pills to ensure she had enough energy to film all day. Because of the toll these substances took on her health, Judy unfortunately passed away at the age of 47 because of an OD from these substances. And at number 2, inappropriate behavior runs rampant. So I'm gonna have to dance around the subject a bit for this one, but the things that have been exposed during the Me Too and Time's Up era are not new and have been happening for decades. Harvey Weinstein wasn't the first and only power player in Hollywood to use his power to get women to do what he wanted. And this all goes back to the idea of the, quote, casting couch, where you are expected to do sexual favors to these executives in exchange for a role. And there are many examples of this behavior taking place in Hollywood. Even worse, this behavior can also happen against One study even found that 94% of women employed in the American film industry have experienced sexual harassment or worse. This is a staggering number that should make everyone push for change. And finally, at number 1, discrimination problem. The problem of diversity in Hollywood is something that's being brought up more and more over the years, and when we look at some of the stats, it's pretty wild. Only one woman has ever won the Oscar for Best Director, and that was Kathryn Bigelow for the 2008 movie The Hurt Locker. Also, only one African American has ever won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay in the history of the Academy. That was Jordan Peele in 2018 for Get Out. But the problem is not only in the cast and crew of the movies, it's the higher up of the business in general. A 2016 Washington Post investigation reported that 96% of Hollywood's decision makers were white and 87% of them were male. Clearly a large gap between those demographics and what we see in society today. A study of 100 movies released in 2016 also showed that about 70% of speaking roles in that year's top 100 films were white, leaving 30% to account for Black, Asian, and Hispanic people. Another shocking stat was that just 31% of speaking characters were female. And then number 10, Mafia connections. Back when Hollywood first started, it was rumored that mobster Mickey Cohen ran the Hollywood underworld. Back in 1950, it was apparently a known thing that Cohen ran many organized crime units in LA. And over the years, it's been revealed that a lot of big old Hollywood stars had connections to the Mafia. Even singer Wayne Newton had a connection to the Mafia, and it almost ended up costing his life. Newton was apparently friendly with Guido Penosi, who was a member of the Gambino crime family, but Newton claimed he had no idea that he had mob ties. Then in 1980, there was a lot of scandal around Newton and the Aladdin Hotel that was co-owned with Mafia members. Rumors swirled that Newton was talking to police behind their backs. Then Newton was put on a witness list to testify against the family, which got him a legitimate threat against his life from the Mafia. Thank God he was able to survive the ordeal. And at number 9, ageism. Getting older is a fact of life, but in Hollywood they want to avoid it at all costs. And specifically for women, getting older means the end of your career. It's so bad that actors even try to hide their ages, so they can play younger roles. Actress Junie Ho Wang sued the website Internet Movie Database for revealing her true age to fans. Actress Jessica Lange has defied this ageism and has success in her 60s, but she admits it was more difficult as she got older. She said in one interview, quote, "Ageism is pervasive in this industry. It's not a level playing field. You don't often see women in their 60s playing romantic leads, yet you will see men in their 60s playing romantic leads with co-stars who are decades younger." And at number 8, fake fans. In the age of social media, followers are everything, and having tons of followers can mean the difference between getting the part or not. But sadly, a lot of these followers are not real, and it's been exposed that millions of social media followers are fake and are purchased to make it seem like the star is more popular. Some of the world's most popular celebrities are a part of this. Some of the worst offenders are Ariana Grande with 46% fake, Taylor Swift with also 46% fake, and Miley Cyrus with 45% fake. It's worth noting that the celebrity is not always responsible for the fake followers, but they usually are. And at number 7, all press is good press. We've all heard the famous saying, and it seems that celebrities don't care if they're getting good or bad press, they just want to be talked about. People might not know it's actually a PR strategy to get bad press. Sometimes the negativity helps to sell something, or it can take attention off something else. One example of this was back in 2014 when it was revealed that Kim and Kanye were going to be on the cover of Vogue. At the time, Kim was not a fashion icon, and people were outraged. Some readers even threatened to cancel their Vogue subscriptions, calling Kimye disgraceful and inappropriate for the iconic publication. Anna Wintour ended up going forward with the cover, and it was one of the most talked about issues of all time. We're not sure if it was all for press, but the negativity definitely helped to sell magazines. And at number 6, body issues. Looking perfect is something that all celebrities struggle with, but having the perfect figure is sadly something that the industry forces you to have to be successful. Many celebrities have come forward to share their stories of disordered eating, which was caused by Hollywood bigwigs saying that they weighed too much. Even agents and managers have told a star that they need to lose weight in order to be cast. Former child actor Raven Simone admitted on The View that she was told at age 7, while starring on The Cosby Show, that she couldn't eat certain things because she was getting too big. This experience caused her to have a lifelong struggle with food. Demi Lovato has also been open about their eating issues. Demi remembered that when they were only 3 years old, they hoped that their stomach was flat. People are now fighting back against these standards and advocating for more body positivity in Hollywood, but it's a long road ahead. Halfway number 5, Scientology. Scientology is a mysterious religion that happens to have a ton of A-list celebrity followers. It's been said that the founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, used celebrities because he knew that they would attract followers to this new religion. This is also the reason that the Church of Scientology has a huge luxurious building right on Hollywood Boulevard. In the 1950s, L. Ron Hubbard created the quote, Project Celebrity, a written program that offers rewards to Scientologists who bring in some of the biggest names in Hollywood. Today, some of Hollywood's biggest stars follow Scientology, including Tom Cruise, John Travolta, and Kirstie Alley. Apparently, these stars are rewarded with butler-esque employees to do anything and everything for them. Former high-ranking members spoke out against this, claiming that they saw Tom Cruise use underpaid Scientology workers for years. And at number 4, gender pay gap. Yet another example of Hollywood being harmful to women is the gender pay gap between men and women in movies. And unfortunately, this still exists to this day. This issue came to the forefront in 2013 when the movie American Hustle was released. The movie showcases huge movie stars, but unfortunately was exposed that the female actors received less than their male counterparts. An email hack revealed that Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams received 2 points less on the revenue sharing agreement than their male co-stars Bradley Cooper and Christian Bale, despite the fact that both actresses are A-list actors. Around the same time, Meryl Streep, the actor with the most Oscars ever, came forward to say that even she was paid less than her male co-stars. House of Cards actress Robin Wright also said that she needed to be paid as much as Kevin Spacey, or she would go public against Netflix. And at number 3, animal cruelty. When making a movie, it's imperative that nobody is hurt during the production. This includes animals, and it's common to read, quote, "No animals were harmed during the making of" while watching a movie. But according to many reports out of Hollywood, that's not always true, and animals are often harmed on movie sets. Some of the worst examples include the near-drowning death of a tiger during the filming of Life of Pi, the hitting of a dog on the set of 8 Below, and the dozens of dead fish and squid that washed up on the shore over 4 days during filming of the Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. The second season of the HBO series Luck was actually cancelled after 4 horses died during the production. Apparently they were overworked because the production wanted the horse racing to look as real as possible. The people on set also ignored warnings from humane animal monitors on the set, making it clear that they didn't care about the animals. Unfortunately, this loss of life had no repercussion. And at number 2, Hollywood fixers. It's long been rumored that bigwigs in Hollywood will hire fixers to do the dirty work for them. These are basically tough guys that will swoop in and do the dirty work that these powerful people can't get caught doing themselves. This idea was brought up again because of the series Ray Donovan. Back in the days of old Hollywood, where stars would sign their lives away to movie studios, it was common to have these fixers to deal with personal issues. It was rumored that these men would cover up pregnancies of their young stars, along with making accusations against powerful men go away. And these practices still happen today. A fixer named Anthony Pellicano was arrested after it was discovered that he sent threatening notes to celebrities along with a dead fish. Pellicano was allegedly employed by stars such as Michael Jackson, Chris Rock, Kevin Costner, and Steven Spielberg. And finally at number 1, the Illuminati. The Illuminati might be the most elusive group in Hollywood. Nobody is quite sure who they are, but everyone is pretty sure that some of the top celebrities in the world are a part of it. Most notably Beyonce, Jay-Z, Tom Hanks, and Lady Gaga. The subject of the Illuminati was brought to light again recently after David Dobrik did a podcast interview where he spoke about his experience with the Illuminati in Hollywood. He told the story to Zayn and Heath on their podcast, where David revealed that a girl that he knew was approached by the Illuminati, and she was told she needed to sacrifice someone to them if she wanted to get famous. Apparently this girl called her mother, who was okay to be the one sacrificed, but the girl did not end up going through with it. Months later, David and this girl were at a Hollywood party with old Hollywood A-listers, and when the topic of the Illuminati came up, the girl told the group about how she was approached, and one of the A-listers told her not to get involved with them because the Illuminati ruined his best friend's life. Apparently this A-lister's supposed best friend was Michael Jackson. And at number 10, Paris Hilton's boarding school. In 2020, Paris Hilton opened up about her traumatic childhood after keeping it a secret for most of her life. In her documentary This Is Paris, Hilton alleged that she'd been subjected to toxic and harmful treatment while attending Provo Canyon School in Utah, which was a boarding school for troubled teens. Hilton revealed that while she was there, she would be isolated in solitary confinement for no reason and be forced to take pills that made her feel numb. Paris and her entire family kept this secret for her entire time that Paris was a socialite and an A-list star. Along with her difficult childhood, Paris also exposed that her voice was faked, and she made it sound higher to play into the dumb blonde stereotype. And at number 9, Joan Crawford. Back in old Hollywood, they didn't have the beauty products that we have today, and actors were forced to use alternative measures to look their best on camera. Actress Joan Crawford took this to the extreme and admitted to soaking her eyes in boric acid every week to make them, quote, sparkle on camera. She exposed this years later in her autobiography called My Way of Life. When talking about this beauty regimen, Crawford said once a week she'd steam her face, apply a mask, and soak her eyes in boric acid, casually instructing, quote, "While the mask is working, place pads soaked in witch hazel and boric acid over your eyelids and put on your favorite music." Obviously, this was an extremely bad idea that could have made her go blind, but she risked it all just to look better. And at number 8, the black box. We are just now scratching the surface of the horrific things that child actors had to endure in the days of old Hollywood. Sadly, one of the punishments adults on set would use when a child actor misbehaved was putting them in a thing called a black box. This was a closed-in box where the actor was forced to sit on an actual block of ice as punishment. Shirley Temple spoke of this box in her autobiography and called it an exploitation of her childish innocence. In her book, she said that if any child on the set of Baby Burlesque misbehaved, they were locked in a windowless sound booth dubbed the punishment box, where they'd be forced to sit on a block of ice. Temple was sent to the box several times in her tenure as a child star. Temple added, quote, "Far as I can tell, the black box did no lasting damage on my psyche. Its lesson of life, however, was profound and unforgettable. Time is money. Wasted time means wasted money means trouble." And at number 7, Jackie Cooper. Stories like this are so horrible, I truly hope this is still not happening today. Actor Jackie Cooper shared a terrible memory of when he was working on set. While he was filming the movie Skippy, Cooper was not able to make himself cry. So the director, who happened to be his uncle, threatened to kill his dog if he didn't cry. Norman Turog, the uncle and director, left lasting trauma on Cooper. In his autobiography, Cooper said about the situation, quote, "I began sobbing so hysterically that it was almost too much for the scene. Turog had to quiet me down by saying perhaps my dog had survived the shot, that if I hurried and calmed down a little and did the scene the way he wanted, we would go see if my dog was still alive." Cooper ended up earning the nomination for Best Actor in a Leading Role for his performance in 1931. He was just 9 years old, and he's still the youngest nominee ever for the award. And at number 6, morality clauses. Back in the day, the studios basically owned the actors that they signed, and they made them sign their life away. Once they became an actor for a major studio, the actor totally belonged to them and was not able to make major life decisions without consulting executives. Many of these clauses forced female actors to stay unmarried so they were more marketable to men. Others even forced women to terminate their pregnancies so they would not waste any time that could be spent filming. The studios claimed that these clauses were to, quote, "prevent stars from destroying their value through scandal." Stars like Lana Turner, Judy Garland, and Jeanette MacDonald were all held to these clauses, and they would disguise the hospital visits and claim they were for ear infections or other minor treatments. Halfway number 5, closeted LGBT+ actors. To continue along the lines of morality clauses, another use of those clauses were to closet LGBT+ actors, even forcing some of them into sham marriages just to keep up appearances. This part of the clause revolved around not, quote, "forfeiting the respect of the public." If the actor breached this part of the contract and had a relationship that was not approved, they would risk losing their entire salary for the role. Also, if the actor was outed, that would mean the end of their career either way. Gay actor Rock Hudson's struggle with his identity was revealed in the biography All That Heaven Allows. In that book, it was exposed that a magazine planned to out him back in the day. At that time, Hudson's agent was the only person who knew the truth and proposed that he get married to squash the story. Hudson immediately married Phyllis Gates, but they divorced a couple years later. The secret stayed with him until days before he passed away. And at number 4, Buddy Ebsen. Back in the days of old Hollywood, the makeup and prosthetics weren't what they are today, and oftentimes the costumes that the actors would wear would be toxic. One fact is that the Wicked Witch's green face in The Wizard of Oz was made with toxic paint. And Buddy Ebsen, who was supposed to play the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz, did not do so because he had an extreme reaction to the aluminum dust from the makeup. Because of this reaction, he was replaced in the movie with actor Jack Haley. Ebsen was ultimately hospitalized and forced out of Oz's production. For years after the movie, Ebsen claimed that the makeup caused permanent breathing problems for the rest of his life. And at number 3, Jack Nicholson's sister was his mother. This one isn't really related to Hollywood, more so a secret that a Hollywood actor kept for a number of years. Jack Nicholson kept a huge secret from the public almost his entire life, mostly because he didn't know the truth until he was an adult. His entire life, Jack was raised with a sister named June, who was 17 years older than him. But when his parents died, Jack's older sister revealed that Jack was actually her child, and her parents raised him as their own to hide the stigma from a young pregnancy. And Jack's parents were actually his grandparents the whole time. And at number 2, Rihanna's father had a second life. Rihanna has spoken in the past about her tense relationship with her father. Throughout her life, he was addicted to alcohol and cheated on her mother essentially their whole marriage. But one day, a horrible secret was revealed, and apparently the entire time he was married, Rihanna's father had a second family. He had 3 other children as well, 2 daughters and a son. At one point, point, Rihanna was even forced to sue her father because he was selling services involving her name and likeness, although she later dropped that suit. And finally, number 1, hidden children. Being a movie star means that you need to be perfect 24/7. That includes hiding pregnancies from the public or trying to make them go away. Celebrities like Kylie Jenner kept her pregnancy totally a secret until after the birth to ensure the media did not affect her. However, there are tons of celebrities who completely hid secret love children from the public. Aerosmith's frontman Steven Tyler had a secret child well in his heyday, so he and the mother decided to hide the paternity from the child. When Liv Tyler was 8, she found out the truth, and so did the media. Apparently, she was forced to put the pieces of the puzzle together herself when she could no longer ignore the resemblance she had to the singer and his other kids. Starting off at number 10, we have Travis Scott and Rihanna. Many people don't know about this couple because the time they spent together was kept very secret. Obviously, before Travis started dating Kylie Jenner. Although the pair were seen out a few times, neither party confirmed that they were actually seeing each other. The only confirmation we got that they actually dated was from inside sources. The relationship was first exposed on an episode of the Throwing Fits podcast. Then journalist Jonah Wiener shared more about the relationship with Complex. Wiener said, quote, "I broke the news about him and Rihanna, which they told me not to do. It's not because he's like, don't tell anyone I'm smashing Rihanna, it's because Rihanna's like, don't tell anyone I'm smashing Travis Scott, please." Adding, it's obviously embarrassing as hell. And if this is true that she was embarrassed of him, I respect Rihanna even more than I did before. In at number 9, Tom Ackerley and Margot Robbie. Since Margot Robbie is known for playing the love interest in most of her movies, it's a shock to learn that she's been married this whole time, but intentionally kept it a secret. Some speculate that her management has forced her to appear single, so her married status would not affect her work. Robbie and Ackerley were roommates before they dated and eventually married in a surprise ceremony in 2016. And it's near impossible to find a photo of them together on her Instagram or on the red carpet. Usually Robbie attends red carpets alone. In April of 2019, Robbie posted a rare photo of the couple on vacay in Finland. In at number 8, Daniel Craig and Rachel Weisz. This high-powered couple is another that is incredibly secretive. According to Metro, the couple first met in college and were friends for years, but it wasn't until they starred in the 2011 movie Dreamhouse together that they actually started dating. Not only has the relationship been a secret, but so has the marriage. Apparently, the two got married in 2011 in a secret ceremony that was attended by just 4 people. They have been quietly together ever since and even started a family together. They now share a child together that was born in 2018. The pair are so secret that they don't even attend a lot of public events together, but it works for them. Weisz told the New York Times, quote, "Daniel and I are really similar. We're just really crap at talking about our private lives." It seems that the pair also believe it's not a good idea to speak about their relationship to the public. In at number 7, Beyonce and Jay-Z. Beyonce and Jay-Z's relationship is happily out in the public now, although the details on what goes on behind closed doors is still very secretive. Although you might not know that the couple kept their relationship hidden during the first few years that they were together. According to People magazine, they initially started dating around 2000, but the media didn't learn about their romance until 2004 when they went to the MTV VMAs together. Even when they started appearing out in public together, their relationship was still private. The couple later got married during a secret ceremony in 2008 that nobody knew about for months. The only time we really see the couple together is during rare interviews or when either of them releases a documentary. In at number 6, Matthew Perry and Lizzie Kaplan. This couple kept their relationship so well hidden that nobody knew that they were even together until long after they split. And it's even more impressive because they dated for a whopping 6 years. It was reported that after 6 years of being together, they split in 2012. They kept their breakup secret for over a year before it was even announced. Sources said after the split that the two did not agree on their long-term goals. Kaplan wanted to get married, but Perry was not interested. The source added, quote, "The last year that they were together, it was very up and down, a lot of back and forth. It was hard for them to let go, but ultimately Lizzie decided she wanted more." The source didn't know if Perry was against marriage altogether or if he just not wanted to get married to Lizzie. Halfway, number 5, Shailene Woodley and Aaron Rodgers. This couple silently got together in 2020, and fans were shocked to learn about the unlikely couple. The pair was rumored together during the pandemic, but they kept it out of the public eye until February 2021 when Rodgers thanked his fiancée during a speech. While on stage at the NFL Honors Award show, he said, quote, "2020 was definitely a crazy year filled with lots of change, growth, some amazing memorable moments. 180 straight days of having my nose hair scraped, playing for very little fans or no stands the entire season. I got engaged and I played some of the best football in my career." Weeks later, when Woodley went on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, she confirmed their engagement and showed off her engagement ring. Sources have revealed that the pair are not traditional and will be keeping it very under wraps. One source added, quote, "They have a very different non-traditional relationship. Shailene and Aaron are still together, it's not odd, and they don't post about each other on their birthdays in that sense, and are very private about things." In at number 4, Nicole Kidman and Lenny Kravitz. Nicole Kidman and Lenny Kravitz are most likely a couple the public would never think of, but these two did date, and even more shocking, they were so serious about the relationship they were even engaged at one point. They got together in the early 2000s and were photographed out and about, but never confirmed any details about their relationship. Until 2017, when Kidman revealed during an interview that they were engaged. When Kidman was speaking about her castmates on Big Little Lies, she said, quote, "Well, I knew Zoe because I was engaged to her father," she said of working with Zoe Kravitz. Quote, "It's all in the family. I love Lenny, he's a great guy." In at number 3, Aubrey Plaza and Michael Cera. Aubrey Plaza and Michael Cera dating is not a shock at all to me. They starred in a lot of comedies together and their personalities seem really similar. But what is shocking is that they kept their relationship totally secret while they were together. After filming Scott Pilgrim vs. the World together, Aubrey Plaza and Michael Cera started seeing each other officially. But they didn't tell the world until after they had broken up. In a 2016 episode of RuPaul's podcast, What's the Tea?, Plaza revealed that they dated for more than a year, saying, quote, "We love each other and we're just really good friends. He's just a weird little freak and we speak the same language." In at number 2, Cory Booker and Rosario Dawson. New Jersey Democratic Senator Cory Booker and actress Rosario Dawson started dating while Booker was campaigning for the presidency in 2019. The rumors that they were dating first started when they were seen out at a performance of Broadway's Dear Evan Hansen together. Then a few months later in March, Dawson confirmed the relationship to TMZ. She said, quote, "I'm just grateful to be with someone that I respect and love and admire so much." The pair are still very low-key and do not share details about their relationship, but Dawson has been spotted at a rally supporting Booker and has made a few appearances on her social media profiles, along with attending some of her movie premieres. And finally, number 1, Zach Braff and Florence Pugh. This couple has kept their relationship pretty secret due to their controversial age gap. The couple, who share a 21-year age gap, met on the set of a 2019 short film that he directed called In the Time It Takes to Get There. They have never walked on a red carpet and are rarely seen on each other's Instagram. This is because the first time Braff appeared on Pugh's Instagram, the post was flooded with hate comments regarding their age gap. The comments were later deactivated on the April 2020 post, and Pugh later shared a video statement concerning the backlash. In the nearly 4-minute video, she shared that she was forced to turn off the comments on her post, showing Braff because 70% of the comments were hurling hate. She shared that she is a 24-year-old grown woman and she can make her own decisions about who she chooses to be with. She added that it is nobody's place to talk badly about a relationship that does not affect them. And if people cannot hold their tongues, they should just unfollow her. The pair are still together and are very serious. They also share an adopted dog.
Number 10, there are substances on set. Actors using substances on set is nothing new. A lot of people are pretty sure that Seth Rogen smokes his herbs and spices on set constantly, something he's admitted to doing before, but not as often as the internet makes it out to be. However, in the earlier days of Hollywood, substances were not only done on set, they were encouraged by the studios, who would regularly feed their actors their narcotic of choice on set. In fact, John Belushi from the Blues Brothers was such an avid consumer of No-No Snow that the price of powder was built into the budget for the 1980 flick. No wonder he's in sunglasses all day. If he took them off, he'd look like he just got pepper sprayed or something. I don't know what happens when you do that stuff. I'm a good boy, I promise. Facts are that this still takes place to this day. Now, I have signed a few NDAs in my time as a locations PA, so I cannot specify who does what and where, but the amount of celebrities that surprisingly love that No-No Snow is astonishing. No wonder so many people deliver great performances. It's because they amp themselves up in a bathroom for 5 minutes before every scene. Number 9, Jim Carrey's origins. A Canadian legend, Jim Carrey is considered one of the greatest modern comedians of all time. He famously released 3 films in the year 1995, Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, and Ace Ventura, all of which made millions at the box office and still hold up to this day, except for a couple scenes in Ace Ventura, but we won't get into that. As many know, comedians tend to have a pretty rough backstory, as the best comedy comes from a place of pain. Over the years, Jim has come clean about his strange but fun upbringing. His family struggled financially and he grew grew up watching his mother struggle with depression, which he claims to have been passed down to him. Despite his energy, he was a bit of a recluse growing up, and apparently he spent hours in his room making faces in the mirror instead of hanging out with his friends. After dropping out of high school to work a full-time job, Jim and his family were actually forced to live in a Volkswagen van together, becoming homeless for a short period of time. He went on to attempt a career in comedy, at first to minimal success, but of course he was able to find his footing and made his place in comedy history. Number 8. There are ties to the Mafia. The film industry may be a multi-billion-dollar business, but where did they get that first bit of cash from to get where they are today? Well, apparently Hollywood has a dark history that's tied to organized crime families. The Trucadero, or the Truck, was a famous spot on the Sunset Strip back in the day, with many celebrities coming through the doors, along with studio heads and notorious mob leaders like Mickey Cohen, who was a regular at the establishment. He was a man who rubbed elbows with many of Hollywood's A-list. In fact, the film Texas Chainsaw Massacre, released in the 1970s, was released by Bryanston Pictures, a company heavily linked to several crime families. While the production studio ended up going bankrupt, Hollywood is still filled with many people doing secret deals. I bet all of the money in my savings account that they had something to do with this Barbenheimer nonsense. Now that's not a lot of money, but the mob runs the memes, confirmed. Number 7. Woody Harrelson's father. Woody is best known in Hollywood as the wildest wild child ever to exist. He eats raw meat, he's an eco-crusader, he's a protester against violence, and an advocate for the legalization of herbs and spices in the United States. He's loved on screen, but did you know that his father took people out for money? And I'm not talking about on dates. That's a different job. Charles Harrelson was sentenced to 2 lifetime sentences for the slaying of a federal judge in San Antonio. And prior to that charge, Charles had previously been acquitted for the slaying of Alan Berg, who was a carpet salesman. And he was convicted of the slaying of Sam DeGalia. He's not the greatest hitman of all time. His track record will prove that. The evidence shows that Charles is not the greatest hitman of all time. Woody doesn't speak much of his father these days, and opting instead to leave his family's trouble in the past. He does, however, say that the one piece of advice that his father ever gave him that he still uses to this day is always keep an open mind. Charles knew all about opening minds with bullets. Number 6, they have backups of A-listers. There have been many rumors over the years that Hollywood likes to clone their best and brightest on the off chance that they'll need them again following their ultimate demise. According to the internet, Paul Rudd actually got to star alongside his clone in the show Living with Yourself. Now, Paul has of course claimed that the performance was achieved with CGI and filming one character one day and another the next, but Paul Rudd is also 54 years old and looks like that, so something is not right about this. Now, there is a theory out there that the celebrity elites are made up of lizard people who take the form of actors and singers to influence us. And Paul is thought to be one of those lizard people. Now, I don't believe this theory, I'm just sharing something cool that I found on the internet. But it would be awesome if there were 2 Paul Rudds. In fact, that would be the most chill way to find out that cloned people exist. Just Paul being like, "Hi, I'm Paul," and "Hi, I'm also Paul. Everything's gonna be fine." Number 5, Mark Wahlberg should be in jail. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch hit the rap scene in 1991, and despite sounding like the title of a cheesy kids show, the crew had a small following and garnered a bit of success. Enough for leading man Mark Wahlberg to be spotted and picked up by Hollywood to star in The Corruptor, a 1999 action flick that sees Mark play the leading man Danny Wallace, a police officer who attempts to stop substance trafficking and corruption by the Chinese triads. He's had a successful acting career that has recently been declining in quality, but he's still acting and he looks jacked at the age of 52, so please don't hurt me, Mark. Infinite was just hard to watch. Growing up in Boston, he was the youngest of 9 children and was relentlessly bullied by his fellow siblings. His parents divorced when he was very young, and he became addicted to no-no snow by the time he was in his mid-teens. He dropped out of high school and was eventually arrested when he was just 18 for attempting to slay 2 Vietnamese men. Apparently, he was walking home late one night under the influence of a hallucinogenic narcotic when he spotted the men. Close friends at the time have confirmed that Mark had a racial biased upbringing, which caused him to be instantly aggressive towards anyone who just wasn't white. He attempted to swing a large log at them, which did make contact and knocked one of the men unconscious. He was eventually released after serving only 45 days of his 2-year prison sentence, and he vowed to change his life. Now, so far, he's kept that promise, and I can personally confirm that he's very polite and patient, because he actually watched a movie at the theater I used to work at. He does travel with a crew of 5 people at all times surrounding him. It's a bit intimidating, just a little. Number 4, Margot Robbie may be crazy. Margot may be a perfect Barbie on screen, but apparently behind the scenes, she might be a psychopath. In a recent interview with BBC Radio 1, Margot reminisced about a little prank that she pulled on an old babysitter that involved kitchen cutters, which is the word I'm forced to use for the thing that you cut tomatoes with. Apparently, Margot had just gotten a new babysitter, a much older woman that just apparently wasn't as cool as Talia. So she hatched a plan of sweet, sweet revenge. After a particularly trying day where Margot refused to take a bath, she decided to kick the old lady out for good. She grabbed ketchup, her stabby jabby things, and laid face down on the kitchen tiles. You know, the old "I've been stabbed" routine. As you may expect, her babysitter walked in, took one look, screamed, and just ran out the door. Traumatized, the woman quit and Margot successfully got her old babysitter back. But that is messed up. That is so messed. And Margot was like young when she did this. Like, it's a very dark place for someone's mind to go so early on in their life. Has she secretly been a little bit crazy this whole time? It might explain why she was so good as Harley Quinn. Number 3, Tim Allen's hobbies. Tim Allen is the voice of Buzz Lightyear and the star of ABC's popular sitcom Home Improvement, which premiered in 1991. While he may have played a family man on TV, many fans may not know that Tim was a smuggler of no-no snow in the early 1970s. According to Tim, he got mixed up with some bad people back in the day while he was selling certain substances on the street for a few bucks. In 1978, Tim was arrested in Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport, what a name, and was caught with more than 650 grams, 1.4 pounds of no-no snow. Unfortunately for Tim, state legislators had just passed a law that tied a life sentence to any conviction of selling 650 grams or more. Like, as he was being arrested, there was a guy in a car with him like, "And if you have 650 grams, you're a goner." However, that sentence was never served, as it was revealed that Tim was set up by an undercover police officer who had been following him for months. Due to this and Tim's cooperation in providing the names of fellow dealers to the authorities, it led to him receiving a lighter conviction that allowed him to be sentenced in a federal court instead of a state, so being able to ignore that new policy entirely. His information led to 20 arrests and the sentencing of a major dealer. Can that be a movie, please? Number 2, CGI'd before they pass. Unfortunately, computers are not only making everyone's lives easier when it comes to looking cool on screen, but they're also being used in some of the creepiest ways ever. So, the first example of someone being CGI'd into a movie following their passing was Carrie Fisher. And I do mean first to have a speaking line and be a significant character. Rise of Skywalker did not heavily feature her, but the fact that they had that ready to go so fast after she passed, it was super unnerving. They pulled this with Stan Lee too in one of his last on-screen cameos, and Marvel was going to do this with Chadwick Boseman in the sequel to Black Panther, but the studio changed their minds last minute, and thank the good Lord. But not only is Hollywood prepared to CGI their people into movies, they seem to have inside knowledge of when it's gonna happen. With the new addition of AI into the world of film, we're close to Hollywood not even needing actors anymore and just asking the computer to make Tom Cruise do stunts. Deepfake technology is also getting better and better, making it extremely difficult to tell if a video is authentic or just some CGI shenanigans. Nope, still just me. Number 1, they're all broke. That's right, despite it being one of the most lucrative industries in the world, most of Hollywood's actors, writers, directors aren't as well off as we may think. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past month, most of Hollywood is closed right now as its staff are on strike. Some of the toppest of tier actors have joined their crew in solidarity, not stopping until Hollywood's producers and big budget studios start sharing the money that they make. Actor Sean Gunn gave an interview this last week where he mentions working on a show currently streaming streaming on Netflix, a show that has made over $4 million in residuals, of which he's received basically nothing. This type of financial woe extends to a ton of people in Hollywood, and I just wanted to take this moment to wish luck to anyone out there on the picket lines. Hollywood, pay your people, and everyone holding a sign or waiting for the strike to end, get what you're worth and get back to making the world a better place.
And at number 10, Justin and Hailey Bieber. According to Justin, he and Hailey's marriage was entirely arranged, and even though it wasn't all that hush-hush, it was rather surprising for the husband of the pair to reveal that kind of tea. It came in the form of a joke many fans assumed was a cry for help during a March 2020 Ellen Friday interview. The singer took part in the sit-down with guest host Demi Lovato and addressed his personal realization of literally being set up with his now wife following her father, Stephen Baldwin, dragging Hailey to the Today Show in 2009. Upon explaining, Justin referenced their infamous first encounter at the morning show, detailing her dad dragged her out of bed in the morning and basically was like, you know, I think because she was raised Christian and I think they found out. I think it was an arranged marriage, I'm pretty sure. Looking back now, I'm like, it was definitely. Like, they set this whole thing up. He also mentioned that Hailey's Christianity played a big part in him meeting her family and getting the ball rolling. Quote, since she was raised Christian and she's like, oh, I want to introduce you to Justin and his mom, you know, they have similar values and believe the same thing. We think you guys would be good friends. Demi, who seemed intrigued by the breakdown Justin was serving, later joked, well, mom, dad, if you're listening, it's time because I'm 27. Arrange it up. Before we break down the rest of today's list, be sure to smash that subscribe button if you're keeping up with BTS's top 10 countdowns. In at number 9, Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth. Miley and Liam had a top secret island marriage back in 2018. Regarding the occasion, Miley uploaded a snap on Instagram of her and Liam embracing at their wedding, captioning the image of the now ex-spouses 10 years later. Because fans were in the dark about Miley and Liam's former nuptials ahead of the ceremony, there wasn't a lot of time in between to speculate what Miley would wear while walking down the aisle to give her hand to her then fiance. However, when the pictures dropped from the wedding event, it showed off Miley's appreciation for simple elegance, but also allowed her sexier, freer side she'd become known for to shine through. The Flowers singer-songwriter, her family, and her then husband all celebrated the occasion by posting snaps of the secret ceremony. Miley's gorgeous floor-length off-the-shoulder ivory Vivienne Westwood designed gown truly stole the show too. In at number 8, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. An OK exclusive report from 2012 unfolded the events of Blake and Ryan's bank heist-like wedding. The pair shocked the whole industry when their surprise South Californian wedding in September was hidden from the public eye. The couple ensured no one knew about their big special day, as Ryan stressed to their wedding planner how important it was for them to keep things quiet. At New York's Martha Stewart Wedding's bridal fashion week party, planner Tara Garrett informed OK about how exactly she made it work. Quote, they made me sign paperwork. I think it's funny because Ryan always said, just pretend we're going to be heisting a bank and that's how serious it is. I said, yes sir. Tara also slipped in a quick joke which quipped, now I think I'm a professional. I can rob a bank, don't you think? Even editorial director for Martha Stewart Weddings, Darcy Miller, further detailed, I told no one. I didn't even tell my husband, anyone. I called them by a fake name. I still today call them by a fake name. I was with them yesterday and they were laughing. I got so paranoid about saying their name. For them, they really just wanted to have an intimate wedding, and I think that for us, we wanted to try really hard to maintain that. In at number 7, Elliot Page and Emma Portner. When Elliot and Emma tied the knot, their wedding ceremony was so discreet that fans were unaware of the big occasion until it was discussed via Instagram. Umbrella Academy actor Elliot recalled the events on the photo sharing platform that Wednesday, tagging his wife in the new post with the caption, "Can't believe I get to call this extraordinary woman my wife." After the news broke wind, a representative of Elliot confirmed the joyous news to People. Back in December 2020, Elliot, who was formerly Ellen, came out as trans while announcing their use of he/they pronouns. For their images on Instagram, one featured a photo of their joint hands and wedding bands against a white background. Before their marriage, Elliot initially started posting photos with the Canadian star on social media over that summer. In at number 6, Ashley Tisdale and Christopher French. Fans of High School Musical were shocked when Ashley and her current husband Christopher held a secret wedding back in 2014. They shared their vows to devote their lives to one another in a private Santa Barbara estate, and as per Radar Online, all the guests went to a secret location and shuttled to the estate at the time. The hush ceremony also served as a High School Musical cast reunion iconically. The majority of Ashley's co-stars, who she bonded with in her younger years through the franchise, were present. Actress, singer, and female lead of their franchise, Vanessa Hudgens, even took on the role of Ashley's maid of honor. Staying in tune with the trend of private celebrity weddings in more modern days, this couple was able to maintain the privacy of their nuptials, which is entirely how they had hoped for things to play out. According to a source, the event was very top secret. Ashley has been hyper-focused on keeping it a secret. She wanted it to be her day and didn't want it to be a circus. So when it came down to the arguably most important day of Ashley and Christopher's lives, the stars left no room for anything but maintaining their top priority, privacy. As per the same source, security was very tight. They took everyone's cell phones and electronics. In at number 5, Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. Mila and Ashton even being in a relationship was a massive shock. So imagine fans' surprise when the still married couple first tied the knot. The spouses met and got well acquainted over the years from the time they've collectively starred in the hit series That 70s Show. However, they remained friendly up until 2012. It didn't take much longer for their engagement to follow in 2014 before they welcomed their first child, a baby girl, later that year. Then finally in 2015, the couple exchanged vows in a ranch on the outskirts of LA. And the craziest part? The guests weren't even aware of the location until a day prior. That's how tight-lipped the entire event was. The secret garden party was equally as private, with the festivities being held over the 4th of July weekend. According to a source who relayed information to People, the parents of two were already legally married, and the party merely served as a low-key gathering to ring in the joyous occasion with close friends and family. As they were surrounded by the most special people in their lives, the former 70s Show's co-stars discreetly did it big in Oak Glen, California, setting themselves up in a secluded area that sprawled across acres of botanical gardens, ponds, and apple orchards. The gated space served as a locked-off safety net for the couple, as according to its website, it only then recently opened up its available space for exclusive private events and weddings. Mila and Ashton stocked the Camp Cuckoo dubbed greenery with outdoor-themed activities, as a row of tents made home for a luxury campground for guests. In at number 4, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet. Jason and Lisa were dating for over a decade before they made things official. Despite speculation that the now ex-couple was already married as of 2007, it took them until 2017 to become legally married. The intimate celebration occurred in their Topanga, Californian home and held a lavish list of celebrity guests, including former co-stars like Michael Fassbender and Alicia Vikander, as well as Zoe Kravitz. Their hushed wedding happened after 12 whole years together, and while finally saying "I do," the two managed to hide the entire occasion. Surrounded by their most important family and friends, the couple's wedding was later reported by an insider. That source informed Us Weekly apparently they weren't officially married until then. Then, an additional insider reported to the same outlet that Lisa and Jason proceeded to purchase a marriage license that October, going on record for the LA County and County Clerk's office a single week before they tied the knot. After all that secret love, the pair called off their marriage in 2022, and no word has confirmed whether or not they have since remained divorced or remarried. In at number 3, Cardi B and Offset. Fans seemed elated when the rapper ended up proposing to his female rapping partner back in October 2017. However, the rather open-up artist revealed that she and Offset were already married a month before. Even more, the wedding remained so off the radar that Cardi didn't even bother wearing a dress or makeup, something she formerly revealed in a lengthy tweet. Apparently, Cardi stepped forward to break the news after reports released suggestions that the couple, who was assumed to be merely engaged at the time, were actually spouses. Cardi set the record straight as she normally does and left fans in a bout of surprise over it. That October, concert goers were the first to see Offset drop on one knee and propose to the female rapper during a Philadelphia Power 99 Powerhouse show. However, as per reports and later confirmed by the stars, Cardi and Offset had already held a secret ceremony weeks before they put on a show for the audience. On September 20th. Once it was revealed, fans started piecing together how inseparable they seemed and how their joint interview and Rolling Stone cover made a lot more sense. More so, supporters wondered why the pair ever kept their marriage a secret in the first place. In at number 2, Jim Parsons and Todd Spiewak. 14 lengthy years finally bore witness to Big Bang Theory actor Jim tying the knot with his since husband Todd in 2017. The same-sex couple got married at New York City's Rainbow Room, and according to one of the guests, who is also a co-star of Jim's, Mayim Bialik, ceremony attendees were not allowed to use their cellular devices at the event. Posted on Instagram, Mayim captioned a cute snap of the newlyweds, "What a wedding, not a cell phone in sight. Everyone was so present," which sounds pretentious. "It was truly powerful for us all to just be there fully. Todd and at the real Jim Parsons, you are so loved. Also, hands down prettiest chupa ever, seriously." And And at number 1, Jodie Foster and Alexandra Hedison. Jodie has maintained her incredible need for privacy throughout the entirety of her acclaimed career. Factually, her sexuality remained a massive secret up until she presumably came out in her 2013 Golden Globes acceptance speech. She and her then girlfriend, Alexandra, got married a mere year after seriously dating in 2014. Their private ceremony was held over a weekend, confirmed by Jodie's representative. Back in October 2013, the pair were only seeing one another with labels, but they managed to keep their lips sealed shut about the relationship in general until way later on. Still married to this day, Jodie and Alexandra made their first public appearance together that same October during a Beverly Hills Performing Arts Gala at the Wallace Annenberg Center.